Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. Today we are going to be doing episode 4 of I Build Your Teams, the series where basically people send me their teams and I tell them how I would go about upgrading their teams and making their teams as good as possible in NBA 2K21 My Team. If you want to be in a future episode of this video, make sure you follow me on Twitter. My Twitter is always in the description of my videos. I put out a tweet every Friday night or Saturday morning announcing that I'm going to be doing an I Build Your Teams episode on Saturday, and you can respond to that tweet with your team and your playstyle, how much MT you have, things like that, to help me out as to how to build your team, and that would help me out a lot if you could do that. And if you wanted to do that to be in a future video, that's how you would go about being in that video. That being said, if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, I would really appreciate it. We're less than 140 subscribers away from 1,000 subscribers. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, make sure you do that. It's free and you can unsubscribe at any time, and I would really appreciate the support. All right, let's hop into this video. First team, we have my boy Vishnu. And looking at Vishnu's team, he's running Lenzo, Kawhi, Scottie Pippen, AD, D-Rob, Juan Carlos, Malik, Terry, Draymond Green, and Giannis. He says he has 235K in the bank. He runs Tox 2018, like Sturman was Zoe, runs the starters for most of the game. He said he's looking to upgrade Cat and Malik, but it looks like he upgraded Cat, or changed things around anyway. So, that being said, I'm looking at this team, and immediately what I notice is I feel like, for me personally, at least in a competitive setting, the Scottie Pippen card is a little bit overpriced considering the value that you can get out of some other guys. For that reason, my first upgrade would probably be to move to replace Scottie Pippen, sell Scottie Pippen, and then replace him with Andrew Wiggins. You could play Wiggins off the bench at year 2 and start Malik Sealy at the 3, or you could just straight up replace Scottie Pippen with Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins has better dribble sigs and a better drop shot than Scottie Pippen, and for that reason, I think he's probably just as good or even close to better of a card than Scottie Pippen for much cheaper. So I think that's the first upgrade I would make, is replace Pippen with Wiggins, and then that will save you a bunch of MT as well. At that point, what I would probably do would be move Anthony Davis to your backup center, leave Draymond as your backup power forward, and sell Giannis. And once you sell Giannis and Pippen, you'll probably have closer to, and you replace them with Wiggins, you probably have closer to like 400,000 MT, at which point you could potentially continue saving and go after a guy like Zion at power forward. You could grind for Wes Unseld to play power forward. You could even pick up a guy like Paul George and Lamar Odom for the time being to play power forward. And I think if you do that, your team will be better overall, and you will have more MT on your team in general. So that's where I would look to upgrade for this first team. Hopping into the second team, we got my boy Mr. Lenzo, one of the goated accounts in this community, goated dude in the community as well. But he says he has 3.7 million MT, so he has unlimited MT basically. He's 3 hunts, yeah. Current 90, next 10, he plays mostly on current, cool. He's gonna have Opal Bird here. I'm looking at this team and I don't see Luka. And I feel like when you have if you really like Derrick Rose, keep running Derrick Rose. I'm not going to tell you not to. But Luka is significantly better than Steph Curry. And him having 3.7 million MC, I would say go get yourself a Luka. Preferably try to find one badged out with Hall of Fame clamps and replace Steph Curry with him. Then sell that Steph Curry. And you'll probably profit. You'll probably have spent a couple hundred MT, but you'll have a much better point guard off the bench. And then honestly, I don't really think there are very many holes in this team right now. Maybe figuring out a way to get Paul George in the squad somehow. Maybe Paul George at the 3 off the bench, and then Kermit or Wes at the 4, and Wes at the 5 maybe, or Dirk. It depends on what you like. But I don't really feel like there are very many holes, and you pretty much have the MT to get whoever you want. But maybe figuring out a way to get Paul George in this lineup somehow, and then getting Luka are the 2 upgrades that I would probably look to make on this team. Hopping over the next team, we got my boy Oli. He says his playstyle 5 outing, use pick and roll to find lanes and open shots. I have 50k MTs, willing to grab for anyone within this week current gen. Alright, so I'm looking at this team, and immediately, he doesn't have a ton of auctionable cards, which is probably the way that you want to do this when you're no money spent. That being said, what I would probably do immediately is sell Hakeem. He's a little bit outdated and his jumper isn't great. I don't love him at the 4 in general. And he's worth too much MT, I think, at this point to be worth keeping. So once you sell Hakeem, I would move Sidney Wicks to the 4. Make sure he has the shooting badges he needs. It's like range, flexible, deadeye. So make sure you play him at the 4. And then move Anton Jamison to your backup 4 and take Dave DeBuscher out of your lineup. Now, Once you've done that, the next thing that I would look to do, because at that point the only 2 holes in your spot team would be small forwards, I would move Terry Dishinger to 3 and grind for Brandon Roy to play the 2. Once you grind for Brandon Roy, you can also grind for John Wall, and I see you've already grinded for West, so I would definitely make sure you go ahead and do that, because then you get Brandon Roy to play the 2 for you, and John Wall to play point guard, so then your point guards are Lonzo and John Wall, which is much better than D'Angelo Russell. And then at that point, the only actual purchase that I would make would be Andrew Wiggins in all likelihood. You could probably play Andrew Wiggins as your starting 3 and Terry Dishinger as your backup 3, and that would give you a lineup that looks more like Lonzo, Brandon Roy, Andrew Wiggins, Sidney Wicks, Wes Unseld, and then John Wall starting. Sorry, Lonzo off the bench, Clyde Drexler, Terry, Anton Jameson, and Pau Gasol would probably be the lineup that I would look to run with your team and the amount of MT you have. That's kind of what I'm looking at. Looking at this next team, we got my boy Nick. He said driving kick to open 3, point shooters with Braun. He has 25k MT and he's encouraging. Now, when I look at this team, what I immediately see is he's got a couple really expensive cards here in Pippen and LeBron, but then he's got some major holes on his team. Sean Kemp, Buddy Hield, Russell Westbrook, guys like that. So probably what I would look to do immediately would be I would sell LeBron and Scottie Pippen. I know they're both very good cards, and he says he drives and kicks with LeBron, but I would sell both of them, and then that'll probably get you closer to, I would estimate, around 400 KMT. At which point I would move Donovan Mitchell to your backup point guard and grind for De'Aaron Fox to start at point guard. At that point, I think your point guard position will be solid for now. Then as your shooting guard position, I would pick up an Andrew Wiggins, and then maybe pick up a Malik Sealy as well. I think that would be good to fix that point guard, to fix that shooting guard position. Then your small forward, Sean Marion is fine. Power forwards are fine with Anton and Sidney Wicks, and then DeMarcus Cousins can be your backup center. Sell Sean Kemp, go pick up like a Hero Cat or somebody like that. And then the final upgrade I would look to make at this point, because at that point your probably main hole would be a small forward. You could go after a guy like Lamar Odom. You could go after a guy like, I don't know, Draymond Green, play him at the 4 and move Jameson or Wicks to the 3. Something like that would probably, I would think, probably benefit this team the best. So then you'd have a lineup more like De'Aaron Fox, Andrew Wiggins, Anton Jameson, Draymond Green, and Cat. And then off the bench, you'd have something along the lines of Donovan Mitchell, Malik Sealy, Sean Marion, Sidney Wicks, and DeMarcus Cousins. I think a team like that would be a significant step in the right direction and probably leave you with some more MT to work with as well. Next team, we got my guy Warrior FC. He says he runs 21 delay with 5 out. He plays on current gen. Very nice. He's got 182k, and he's got a really nice looking budget team already. I don't really see any huge holes with this team. When you look at it, I think you did a really good job so far of building this team to a solid point. Your biggest hole, I think, on this team is probably your backup point guard position. Maybe backup shooting guard as well. But I wouldn't worry too much about the shooting guard position at this point. At your point guard position, to replace that Donovan Mitchell card, what I would probably look to do would be something along the lines of getting a Badgett Alonzo Ball. You could go pick up a Magic Johnson. Somebody like that, I think, would probably be your best bet to pick up for the backup point guard position. But besides that, in all honesty, with this team specifically, I think I would just hold on to my MT for season 6. That's probably what I would personally look to do with this team. And that actually reminds me, looking back at this team, another couple options you could get for the shooting guard position would be Clyde Drexler, Ray Allen. Then you could maybe play Wiggins or Sealy at the 3, allow you to get a little bit more shooting and athleticism in this team. And those 2 cards are free, Ray and Clyde Drexler. So I might consider going after those cards as well for that team specifically. Over here I got Hutch. He says he's got Luka, Drexler, Marion, and James Anton, and David Robinson with Donald, Klay Thompson, Sidney Wicks, Wayne Embry, and Pau Gasol. He's just got about 200k. He runs 5 out, 3 outing on offense, and then it runs a 2-3 on defense. 2-3 on defense is interesting because most people that I know that run zones consistently, it's hard to run a zone effectively in my team. But if it works for you, go for it. Otherwise, I would say maybe try to adjust and potentially get a little bit more, run a little bit more man, because I think man-to-man, generally speaking, is more effective. But yeah, if 2-3 works for you, I'm not going to tell you not to do it. He says he's got 200 KMT. I assume his Marion is evoed. So the immediate hole I see on this team is Wayne Embry. I think everybody else in here is a really good, at least budget option, or a really good card in their own right. So what I'd probably look to do would be to make sure your Sidney Wicks has shooting badges that he needs, and then move him to the 4 off your bench. And then you can move Sean Marion to the backup 3. At that point, I would probably pick up an Andrew Wiggins to start at your 3. And I think if you did that, you would still have something along the lines of 170 KMT or so that you could still use to look to upgrade your team more if you wanted to. If you wanted to upgrade your team past that, you could look into potentially getting a new power forward, a Giannis, a Lamar Odom, somebody like that to replace Jameson. But overall, I think this team looks really, really solid, and I like the basis of this team with the exception of Wayne Embry. Final team for today's episode, we got my guy Q Savage. He says he's got 200k. He plays on current Gen 5 outspeed glitch into a Showtime. So Q Savage does not have a small forward. And I think the immediate fix for your small forward position would be somebody like Malik Sealy, if you wanted to buy somebody cheap like that. If you're willing to grind offline on the game, you could potentially go for a guy like Wes Unseld and then move Kermit Washington to the 3. I think that would help with upgrading the team. You can play Unseld at the 4 and then Kermit at the 3. And make sure your Kermit Washington has the shooting badges he needs. Make sure your Sidney Wicks has the shooting badges he needs. And after that, I think you're looking solid. On this team specifically, I like the fact you have Luka, Dirk, a couple of star level players. You already have that Wiggins card. Definitely have a really good budget team set up right here. So I think that's going to do it for this video. I appreciate everybody who's come to the video and watched to this point. If y'all enjoyed, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and again, hit that subscribe button if you haven't. We're less than 140 subscribers away to 1,000, trying to make a push towards that in the next month or two. And yeah, if you want to be in a future video, make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link will be in the description, like I said before, and keep an eye out on Friday nights, Saturday mornings for a tweet from me about this series that you can reply to with your team. I appreciate everybody who came through, and I'll be back with another 2K video very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.